Okay, so this is probably my favourite day, and we're going to get straight into creating an online course and how to charge for it. Could be a membership area, could be a set of help pages like my T4S.site/tutorials. But this is what I spend most of my time helping people on, so it's the bit I'm most passionate about, I think, more than anything. Anyway, let's get to it. We're going to create a course and we're going to charge for it. And what we're going to do here is go through the page like we normally do. So the first things first, navigation. So T4S will automatically add a menu to your course pages. So let me explain that to you on the funnel manager. Let me get rid of all of these so we get back to what you would have by default. And let me just reset all of these so we're where we are. Right, so in your funnel you will have icons down the middle. It's called the burger icon. It's supposed to look like a burger with two bits of the bun and a burger in the middle. Anyway, it's called a burger icon. And by default it's grey, which means that there's no menu. That's what you've been used to all along. You create new pages and there's no menu on screen. What you can do is you can add a menu by clicking and making them all go green. So if I now view my funnel, I now have a menu down here. Boom, 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 boom. I can also make pages a child of the page above, or sub-page. And I do that by clicking this green icon once more, so it has a little indent icon on it. And if I refresh, page 2 now has a sub-page. So if you're working in weeks or modules or topics or whatever it is you want to do, and there's lots of menu items, rather than overwhelm the visitor, you can make pages a sub-page. The way it works is that anything with a child or sub-page icon here will become a child of the most recent, above it, main page. So if I was to click this one here as well, both of these become a child or sub-page of the most recent top level page, which is there, my course page 2. So I'll just demonstrate that quickly. And now they're both sub-pages. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click again, goes grey, click again, becomes a top level. So only my bonuses page there is a sub level. And that's what I mean by the burger icon and generating a menu. The next thing we look at here on the page is colours, so I'll quickly show you that. On the funnel manager, we have colours and fonts here. What that allows you to do is a number of things. It allows you to add fonts automatically to every page editor in every funnel, and certain custom colours to the colour picker of every page in every funnel. And the bit at the bottom allows you to customise the colour of the menu. So by default, it will look like that, nothing. If I save that and refresh, that's the default colour scheme, sort of a metal grey and an orange hover and so on. That may not suit your branding or your colours. So what we can do is on colours and fonts here is put in our own colours and an image as well. Computers use a variety of ways, but one way it uses a reference to colours is what's called a hex code, which is a combination of red, green and blue all mixed together to create a code. You don't need to remember these codes because there's a link here, colour hex code. You can click on there, a new window opens up which allows you to find a particular colour scheme that you wanted. So I had orange before, let's pick a different colour. Quite like that. So I'll copy that hex code right there. Just copy, double click, copy. Bring it over and make my background, paste that shade of blue. The text in the menu, well, on there, white's going to look best. So quick tip, white is hash for 6 Fs, F for Freddy, that's white. Hover background colour is the background colour when you hover your mouse over a menu item. So what would go well with blue? Well, I could pick another colour, but actually, a little tip, on this page here comes all sorts of suggestions and reasoning about why certain colours look good. So if I go to the top here, it's automatically given me some really nice colours here, which I know from an aesthetic point of view what looks good. So I've got a light blue here. I think we'll go with purple. Copy that, bring it back and paste. I do need to make sure it starts with hash. And there we go, we've got purple. Hover colour there, I think it's still too dark for black, so I'm going to just put in white. You could, there's absolutely no reason why you can't, take that colour and put in in here and have a little search for it. Probably not going to do that actually, because that's going to confuse things, but you can see that if you pick a colour like purple, then you can pick another colour that looks good with that. I'm going to leave that, I think, at the moment. I'm just going to go with blue and purple with white as my hover colour. Change image. I'll pick an image here. I'll pick the same one I've got here for the funnel, and I'll save and I'll show you where that appears. So let's just get rid of that and preview again. We've now got our nice blue, and there's the image at the top there. That could be a picture of you, of your product, service, something related, whatever you want to do. That's where the image shows, and there's the purple hover over, which is a bit garish, but we'll go with it. I think actually I would want an orange colour, so let me just go back here and pick a nice orange. I think something like that would look a bit nicer. Maybe even try a black hover text on that. Let's have a look and see what that does. Preview. I've got me white and me black mixed up, haven't I? But you can see where I'm going with that. Let's make it both white. There, I'm spending too much time on this. That'll do. That's fine. You can see where I'm going with that. You can make it match your own branding colours. Alrighty. So that's the colours. Bit of as an aside, but it's nice to personalise your colours. What's next is locked pages. Now, by now, as it sits now, all of your courses open publicly. It might be tutorials, it might be part of your sales funnel, it might be your sales value add, whatever it might be, is publicly available. We want to make them locked so that people have to pay to access them. Now, I'm suggesting here that I'm going to create a whole bunch of course pages, which I've already done already, just to save bringing pause in this video. So I've created those pages, and what I'm going to do is, as per this image, I'm going to keep my introduction to the course public. I've got rid of the previous 3 pages because we've moved on now. You could keep them in the same funnel if you want to, entirely your choice. I've cleared out the other pages and we're going to focus on just the course. The course introduction is going to be public, it's my sales page, and then course page 1, 2, 3 and the bonus page are all locked. That's what they're going to buy. And my course introduction page doesn't have a menu because I want them to buy before they get to that point. So on here, I take the menu off my introduction page. My menu is fine on the other ones, and I'm just going to click on these once to turn them to red padlock. So they're locked. People can't access them without paying. Click again, they go green. Click again, they go red. Okay, so just to refresh, I've got an introduction page which has no menu and it's public. That's my sales page. I then have my course pages which have got a menu and they're locked. People have got to pay to access them. Alright, happy days. Right. What I need to do is make a payment button. Okay, so very quickly I've got a course structure laid out. I can copy and paste the content into that, and I've got my course set up and running. What I need to do is sell them access to it, and we do that through a button on the sales page. So let's just go back. I'm going to do what is showing on the page here. We're going to go to our introduction page and edit, and I'm going to delete that so we start from scratch. Okay, so this is my wonderful sales page, demonstration purposes only, and I'm going to add a button to pay. And I'm going to click on the button, and I'm going to change, say, buy access for £19. And I've got my Stripe details in here for when we set up the payment buttons in this funnel already, so I can go straight to set up what you're selling. This is a new funnel. You'd obviously do have to do the Stripe details on step 2 of the config bar, as we've done in the single and recurring payments videos. But I can put this in here now. So access to course is £19, and after they've paid, I want to go straight to course page 1. Now the important bit, which is new, because you could do the recurring payment if you want to, this box here is the funnel of which they will access the locked pages by paying. So you could choose a different funnel, but 9 times out of 10, if not 99 times out of 100, you'll be selling access to the locked pages in this funnel. And start simple, just stay in this funnel from now. So choose on that drop down list the funnel you're currently working on. So they'll pay, they'll get redirected to the first locked page because they've just bought access. They'll have to log in, but we'll come to that in a second. And they're buying access to the locked pages of this funnel. Now at the end of this video, I'm going to talk about the login and register page elements, which are really important and something I would always do because it makes the whole user experience much friendlier. But this is the basic way of doing it. So click on save. I'm also going to add onto this page an instruction that says, after paying, you will be, never time with an audience. You will be sent login details, user login and password. Use these on the next screen after paying. Okay, so they know exactly what's going to happen, and that will all become clear why I'm saying that in a second, and why I always use the login and register page element to make the whole experience much nicer. So, save. Now what I want to do now is preview this, because immediately, already, people should be able to access the sales page, buy it, pay, and get access to the log pages. So let's do that. So if I preview my funnel to go to the sales page, I'm logged in as me. Because I'm logged in as me, obviously I can access everything in my funnel. What I want to do is see what the experience is from a brand new user. So I want to copy that URL, and I'm going to open up an incognito browser, or private browser, depending on what, whether you're Mac or Windows or whatever. Control Shift and then on Windows, I forget what the Mac one is, but basically I've opened up a new incognito or private browsing session. What that does is let me work in a bubble. It forgets, it doesn't know that I'm logged into T4S, it doesn't know who I am. So I'll paste my URL, hit return, and it goes there. So let's have a look and see how it works. I'm going to click on the button. I set it up in test mode. It comes up in Stripe in test mode. I'm going to put in my pretend one. This is joe@example.com. 42, 42, 42, 42, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. This is Stripe's test mode. I recommend you set up a new Gmail account for your testing purposes. You know, because you can do that. You can set it, use that person for testing access. But this doesn't matter because it's all Stripe test mode, whatever. Click on pay, boom, and it will go to the next page which we set up, which was the first page of the course. So it's taken my money, and it says good news. Now it's saying good news, and I'll explain this because this will happen to you. Because joe@example.com is my test account, I've already used it to test. So the user's been created, and therefore they have a login already. So what it's saying here is, good news, you already have a login that will work. It's for my consultancy funnel. Your email and original password will work for the above. That will be your funnel if you're testing over and over again with the same email. If it was a brand new user, they would register. So let's do that as well, just to experience that. So close that down, go to my course, and I want to register now with a brand new user. In fact, I'm just going to double check quickly that my brand new user does not exist. Okay, so what I've done, I've deleted joe@example.com, so you can now see how it would work for the first time anybody purchases. If you're testing with the same username and email address, that's why that previous screen would show up. So it's important that you see it, which is why I wanted you to see it. So joe@example.com now is gone. Don't use joe@example.com, by the way, because you'll find that because it's used for me by testing a lot of stuff, you'll find that joe@example.com has access to a lot of other funnels as well. And I delete joe@example.com a lot, so use your own test email account when you're doing it. Just create a new Gmail account, that's the easiest way. And then you can receive the emails and get the password, excuse me, and so on. Right, so joe@example.com appears, we buy, we pay our 19, and it goes to the first log page of our funnel. So this is the version you get when they're a brand new user. You have been sent your login details by email. Use your email as your username, your password as in the email. So they would check their email. So I'm going to go ahead and get that password, and I'll be back with you in a second. And I'm back. So I can now click on OK, and it's saying log in. So the email that joe@example.com got, I just pop in the details that it tells me, click on login. And because I'm a new user, because we like to get their first name and surname, because we're supporting these people, we want to know who they are, it's asking me just to pop in their details. And I don't want to change the password, so I just click on save. And that's it. Joe is now bored, got the email, logged in, added their name, and they now exist as a person. And if you click on a here, that's where the details are in there. Okay. And they got the course, and off they go. Boom. You know, and so on. Boom, 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 boom. So you've now sold them. So cool. And and in your course you can add opt-in emails and opt-in forms and all the rest of it, and take them on the funnel and do all the wonderful stuff we're learning about. So let's just back off now and take a breath. That's a good point to play with. If you can go away, create a public course just by changing the burger icon, do that, be happy with that. Then introduce your locked pages and your payment button for them to buy, and test that and go through that process, and then come back and then we'll carry on. Right, so I always do this. You don't have to do it, but I just like it because I like to, once someone's registered and they come back to your course, they don't want to be presented with that ugly pop-up. It's fine as part of the process for registering and paying, that's fine, it flows through. But once they've got it, they want to be presented with a nice login experience, and I think it's important for your customers to have a good experience, not just a functional experience. So a login page is something I would always add to make it look nicer. Even you can add a login box onto your sales page. If you've already bought, log in here, rather than a totally separate page. That's entirely up to you. So that's what we want to do. Now, so that we capture people going to a course page before they've logged in, I want to redirect them to a nice login page. So if people bookmark the course while they're logged in and come back to it later and they're not logged in, I want them to have, rather than just a pop-up login box, I want them to have a nice login page. So that's what we're going to do. I have here created a login page. Actually, before I do that, I want to show you something important. This is the bit which we want to set up so that if they hit a previously locked page and to log in, rather than the login pops, they get redirected to our new page. The way we do that is under Edit Funnel Advanced. And down the bottom here, we've got redirect for locked pages. By default is do not redirect, so they just get the login pop-up box. What I want to do is to be redirected to a nice login page. So having created my login page on here, I'm going to choose login, close and save. So now anybody who hits a locked page is going to get redirected to a login page instead. And this is my login page, which I'm now editing and making look nice. Well, I would do if it wasn't for demonstration purposes only, but it's kind of, I've got a 2-column container here with an image and this element here. So let me just delete this and re-add this because this is the important bit. Here, click on add, choose login. Boom, we have a login form. And save. What I'm going to add before I show you how to configure this is I'm just going to add another bit in here saying if you haven't purchased access to this course, please do so here. Boom, boom, boom. Highlight that. I'll underline it because I want to make it clear that it's a link. And I'm even going to go ahead and make it a different color. Let's make it red so it stands out. And I click on the hyperlink, and here I'm going to go to my introduction. Boom. So it's very clear that if they haven't bought access, they've got to. And then I've got my login, which is here, which is nice and cool. And all I need to do is click on that. Where do they go after logging in? Well, they go to my first course page, of course. So I click on save. Boom. And I can log in. Actually, that's fine. And I think I just let's just match the shades of grey here. Change the border colour a bit. Make it 3D. Add a bit of a shadow. Boom. There we go. And I can always just. I'm going to get carried away now. Whatever. Stop, Simon. Demonstration purposes only. Okay, save. I'm just going to dip back into mobile view just to remind you about that if you didn't do the mobile view, Dave. Here's a good example of making it look nice. It will work on mobile, but let's face it, it doesn't look great. This is too big, so I'm going to make that smaller for my mobile audience. This, well, I could either just stretch it out or make it centered, but actually, you know what? I'm just going to click on that to hide it so it doesn't even show on the mobile view. Here, I want that centered. here. I want that centered. I want that form width. Let's make it a little bit smaller so it's not squished to the sides. And the button here I want to make nice and 100%. In fact, on this one I'm not going to hide it. I'll leave it here showing, but I'm just going to bring it down here and just make it a nice width, centered and aligned. And I can tell you, so you see what I've done there is I've really restyled it for use on a on a mobile phone type thing, so it looks nicer. On desktop it's exactly the same, but I've just changed the style, and tablet as well. Tablet's normally okay. I don't like things squashed up to the edge, so I can make that a bit smaller, add some bit in your face. Other than that, that's fine. That's fine. So mobile looks good, that's fine, and that's fine. So that's all looking good on desktop, tablet and mobile now. So reminder on the edit the element, where do they go after logging in? I click my first locked page and boom. So I'll preview that, and always test, remember. So let's just go here, new incognito browser, so I'm not logged in as me, I'm a completely empty user, and there's a nice login page. And now I can click on the button, and now I look much nicer than a pop-up box, in my opinion. Now, on my course, actually let me just, as an example, show you the locked course. So if I just preview that locked course and take that and put it into an incognito browser, this is what happens because of that redirect. Much nicer. Yeah, rather than just having the pop-up, it's just, personally I think that's a much nicer experience. Okay, last thing, just on the login box, there's no reason why at all on your, here, we can put in a little thing saying, already purchased. Login below if you have. Boom, centered, font size, move it down a bit, and then add an element, add the login box. A bit too wide for my liking, let's make it a bit smaller, move it down a bit. Where do they go after logging in? Course 1. Exactly the same. For me, I don't like the fact that those two buttons are the same, so let's just pick a quick 3D one, and actually I think I'll make it a little bit wider. However you want, you know, we can make it perhaps a smaller font size, make it less intrusive. Maybe don't make it a 3D, let's make it flat. Yeah, you can see where I'm going with that. But now, when anybody sees that page, if they've already bought it, they don't got to remember where to go to. You know, it's there, boom in your face. So much nicer. In fact, let's just go ahead and do that because I like to demonstrate all of this. So we copied that, new incognito browser. This is the URL they went to buy, so naturally they're going to come back here to log in. Sample.com, log in. Oh, so much nicer. So much nicer. Okay, so that's the login element. Right, last thing I want to cover off is the register element. Now, it may be that you have a course that actually you want public, but you want to get the details of people who are using the course. Classic example, this T4S Bootcamp. It's free to access, but you have to register. Having registered, I then have you as a member, so I can interact with you and I can tell you about changes that occur to it. Maybe if I update a video, I can, you know, drop you an email and get in contact with you, and so on. It just means that you know, it's public, but you know who's using it, which is, you know, if you're using it as a lead magnet to an upsell, very important. You know, you want to track these users and use them. So that's the purpose of the register. It allows people to register for locked pages, but without paying for it. It skips the whole Stripe business. This is registration, free registration for log pages. It could be an event you're holding. You know, you want to give people access to the information, but you want people to register for the event so that you then got their details for the event itself. Whatever, that's what it's for, all those sorts of scenarios. So let me create a new page, and the new page is going to be called, excellent, so I can see, registration. Okay, this could be on an existing page, a brand new page, whatever you want. But let me just go ahead and click on edit. And maybe this is a secret link. So, you know, rather people than paying for my fictional consultancy, excuse me, my fictional consultancy service, I can say, well, I'll give you a free hour, but can you register for it? You know, this could be a way to do it. So let's just go ahead and, in our fictional consultancy world, register for access to the course locked pages, whatever. Let's just be a bit crazy as we're halfway through the course now. There we go. Right, that's my lovely title, and all I do is add, and then here, register element. Now we can edit that. Just move it down a bit. Let's make it a bit more friendly with some nice. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm just piddling around now. Something like that. A bit crazy. Actually, as we're doing something different, let's just stick in a. Let's do that. Let's put in some space at the top, some space at the bottom, space at the left, space at the right. Make it a little corner radius. I'm just showing this because it. I think. Yeah, about dark radius. I just want to show you this because it's an example of what else you can do, and a bit of a shadow. Why not? Okay, so there's our wonderful one, and let's just go on to mobile because I want to. There you go, classic example, crazy for mobile. Let's just do it so like that. Edit this, for width. I just want to leave a bit of white space at the side. I don't want the fonts quite so crazy. There we go. Much better. Tablet. Similar sort of thing. Let's just tone it down a little bit. Because it's all a bit mad. There we go. How's that? Look alright? Input fields, make that a little bit bigger as well. Cool, let's go crazy. Let's go crazy. Let's just bring that down. I really am digressing, but hey, there you go. Just example about how you can style an element. Yes, and for those of you who realised I want to bring that down to mobile, and that's fine. Cool, right, there we go. So save, boom. So that's our registration page with our register element in it, with a bit of messing around with how it looks. That's it. Let's just preview that. Let's go to here, into my incognito browser. First name, Joe, example 999, Joe 999 at example.com. My password, which I'll put in, say password, and join. Ah, what didn't I do? What didn't I do? Tell you what I didn't do. Let's go back here. What I didn't do is click on here. Kind of important, otherwise they go back to the same page. Where do they go after logging in? T4S is good, but it's not a magician. It needs to know where to send them. I'm going to send them to the lock page. 10 out of 10 if you spotted that before I did. And it's just reinforcing here that obviously this is giving free access to the current funnel. Right, let's save that. And try again. Copy, incognito, paste. Let's pick up Joe, example 1000, Joe 1000 at example.com, whatever, and join. That's better. and now I can log in. So having set it up, I can now log in as joe1000@example.com and password welcome. Now you might be thinking, why did it go to that log page? Because of my redirect. Once they've registered, it doesn't automatically log them in because of security and so on. So it's a matter of, it reminds them what they're logging in as. It also gives them the URL for the login page. Because they're not logged in automatically and they hit that locked page and we set up that redirect, it put them very nicely, I think, to the login page. So I log in with my new user details. There we go. Lovely process. Do you want to go that again? Let's do that whole thing again. Copy, incognito, paste. Right, let's do a new one. So Joe 1999, example, Joe 1999 at example.com. Remember, example.com is a throwaway domain you can use on the internet. And join. Super duper, Joe 1999 example.com and welcome. Nice. Now, actually, let's just do one more thing. Actually, just as we've got you as an audience, what I'm going to do is, after registering, you could offer an upsell, or you could offer a bonus, even better. What about a juicy bonus that they get just for registering as a surprise? People love surprises. Or you just want, to say thank you for registering, or explain the login process, or whatever you want to do. So let's say here we do a after registration. I'm going to go to my registration page, and I'm going to, where do they go after logging in? They go to my after registration page. Save. I'm in the editor, so I just switch across to after registration. Thank you for registering. And then I can put some stuff there about you have free access to the course now. Awesome. Click on the button below to log in. But as a bonus, download my checklist to do something fantastic. Now this in itself is, yeah, you guessed it, a lead magnet. So let's just stick in something just here, just because I can. I just like to show you how you can do things. We'll have a button. Go to login, which will link to a page, and go to here and go to my login page. Boom, super, very nice. And then in here, I'm going to have a nice little icon. Here, I'm going to change my icon, and there's a bazillion different icons. So I think download, that will do. I have that. Let's make it blue. Let's have a little thing underneath saying download. Oops, wrong one. One size. Boom, 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 boom. And then this. Make it obvious. Click here to download. That would be a link to my lead magnet, or whatever it is you're doing. Boom. A capital C. Save. Right, shall we see how it goes? And then we can call it a day on this one, I think. So we've got our registration. So let's go to our registration page, copy, incognito, paste. I'm running out of Joes, aren't I? Joe, example 2001, Joe at joe01@example.com. If you want to use example.com, go for it. It's a throwaway domain, but the point is, don't rely upon it being a tool there in about 2 seconds time. It's a throwaway domain that you can use on the internet. Why don't you prefix? I always use Joe, but you could use your first name or something unique before example.com, so that if it's creating users on T4S, it's not going to get deleted by me if you use Joe. So use example.com, that's entirely up to you. Anyway, he creates. Where does he go to? He goes to our post-registration page. Thank you for registering. Click here to download or go to login. So there's my lead magnet and go to login. Lovely. Login. Joe, I've forgotten what he was called now. Was it 1999? Not so many. Doesn't matter. We just use one of them. He logs in and then you've got the course. It's all it's just smooth experience for the user. And I love it. Okay, that's it. I'll stop there. As you can see, there is many different ways to do all of this. The tools are all in your armory. Play. If you haven't launched anything, you can break it, recreate it. Just use it as a sampling environment. Have as much fun as you possibly can, and do let us know how you're getting on, or ask any questions at the Funnel Hackers Pro Facebook group.